Welcome, everyone. Sorry for the delay. StreamYard was having a lot of technical problems. They may still be, but we do not know, but we're going ahead anyway. This is the 26th day of November in 2025. I'd like to introduce my co-host first. And who did I say? I can't remember who I said.
You're going to do me first now, Marcia.
That's right. Thank you. Because I almost switched around and freaked them out again. Liz, how are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful and can't wait till tomorrow.
Yes, we all are looking forward to tomorrow with food, little things, but and we know what food they are. So,
what's your guys' favorite Thanksgiving food?
Food.
Yeah,
that's a good answer.
That's what I'm thinking. But Marcia, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Yeah, we're all ready. Getting ready for tomorrow, and we're going to jump right in. We are so excited to bring to you the brilliantly talented Ava Nat. How are you, Ava?
I'm amazing. How are you guys?
Oh, and we've got the Thanksgiving background.
I love that.
Yes, we got a Thanksgiving
awesome.
background now. So,
how are you getting ready? How are you getting ready for tomorrow?
I just flew back to New York, so I'm here with my family, and we're going to celebrate it here on Long Island.
Yeah. Now, I was born and raised in New York. I was born in Harlem, raised in Queens.
And awesome. You're a New Yorker.
I am. I'm currently living in Florida, but I'm always claim New York. You can never get the New York out of us, can they?
Well, I was in Nashville for school, so at Belmont University, and I just got accepted to the songwriting program, which has been awesome news. And it's definitely hotter there, but it's been cool the past few weeks. So I've gotten the New York vibe, but my mom was just in Florida, and she's like, it's always so nice and warm there. So I can see the difference for sure that you might be feeling.
Well, you get the changing of the leaves up in New York area.
Yeah.
It's so enjoyable. Well, we are here to talk with you about your incredible experiences on The Voice. Life-changing, really. And so what has probably been one of the top emotional highs from your experience so far?
I think going back to blinds, I think I have the top two would be blinds and knockouts. I think that blinds was, in itself something where you're just putting yourself out there for the first time, and you never really performed on the stage before. And, the coaches, they're not looking at you, you're not on a team, and it's kind of all the stakes are there. So I think obviously the most stressful in the moment, moment would be my blinds. And then I think for me, honestly, the knockouts was the most emotional part. And I mean, every part was emotional after battles. After, I congratulated Aiden, he got off the stage, and then I got that save and that steal. I remember just kind of being like, is this real life? Like, I was looking out at the audience, I was like, what? And then I got off stage and I kind of just broke down, and I was like overwhelmed. So there's a picture, I posted it on Instagram. It's like me in the car like this, and Aiden's in the car with me, and I was just crying. I was like, oh my gosh. But knockouts would have to be the most emotional one, because, there's no saves or steals. And so the fact that it's all out on the line, and you're it's so much anticipation, and then it's like such a big accomplishment, and to just be like, wow, I made it past knockouts, and I made it all the way here. So I think emotionally as an artist, knockouts was like a moment where I'm like, I'm going up there against someone and I'm proving myself. Because for me, battles felt more like a wonderful duet with Aiden.
For your knockout, your song choice was it spanned generations, really, also. And you've talked about why you selected that, and I think your mom had a little bit of
yeah, she did. She was saying that Niall was literally like, I don't know if I would, at rehearsal, the recorded rehearsal, he's like, I don't know if I would pick that for karaoke. That's kind of bold. And then my mom after was like, I meant karaoke at home. I don't go sing that in public. But I was like, honestly, it felt like, I got saved, and I'm moving on to to knockouts, and I just really wanted to prove myself and kind of show an aspect of my voice I haven't yet, and kind of take Niall off guard in a good way, and be able to belt and fully just immerse myself. And it was, you have to really own the stage as well, since it's just you. So something big, I feel like, matched that. And it's just such a classic, which also sometimes is complicated because, everyone just, it's the originals, like you have to honor it and also make it your own. So I think that was a challenge. And so just trying to do it justice, but also be like, this is my artistry and this is my take on the song.
And you totally captivated
Thank
everyone. And Snoop, I mean, he was particularly, I loved his reaction. And I did want to ask you about your look. It seems that you like pastel kind of. Is that your vibe right now?
Honestly, I think like since the beginning, I had kind of a vibe of where I was going. I mean, obviously the wardrobe team is so talented and like involved in the whole process, but I kind of was always, I mean, it's so fun. It's like playing like dress up. So I was even more involved as in like, I kind of came with an idea for makeup, or I was like, what's the vibe of this song? And I think for Hopelessly Devoted, I was really thinking, I saw that she presented that to me, and I was like, at first I was like, how am I going to wear that? Because it was literally just a poncho. We didn't have the boots yet. I was like, how am I gonna wear that? And then we were like, because I was like, I feel like something dreamy. Niall himself was like, are you wearing something like, literally he like was like this. He was like flowing on the stage. You want to be dreamy, and that's the vibe of the song. And then I thought about Olivia. She's literally in a nightgown. And so when I saw that, I was like, perfect. And then I saw the boots, and I'm like, the boots were there before
before the dress.
The dress, and I said, I'm sorry, but I have to wear these boots for a knockout. Like, this is definitely the boots I need to wear eventually on the show. And so she said yes, and we kind of worked around it. It just ended up going perfectly, and it was kind of a bold choice at first. And then she was like, you know what? I really do like it. The wardrobe lady, I kind of pushed her on that one. I was kind of like, I really think the boots would look good with it. It's not it because it's kind of a lot. I mean, but I think that kind of shows me because the boots, it was like a step up from the last one. But I like stuff. My style, I would say, is pastel, but also bold. So it's kind of a match of like that like feminine, dreamy energy and like the edgy Olivia Rodrigo vibe. So I just tried to uphold that throughout my performances.
Thank you. I'm gonna go to Liz.
Well, I'm kind of glad you mentioned the boots because that was the first thing it drew me straight in. And I love boots like that anyway, and it was just perfect. Also, I think the rest of the outfit, you said it was flowy and dreamy, but because you were doing this song, and it is a 70s song, that poncho outfit and the way you did it reminded me, it threw me back to that actual era, not just so much the dreamy, flowy bit, but just the whole aesthetic of it. It was really perfect for the song.
Thank you.
It was definitely a great choice. I want to pull you back all the way to the blinds. And you had said before that you were very nervous and everything going into it. But what did you feel when you had all the coaches and they were fighting for you? You remember much of that?
I remember that. I remember right when when they turned for me was when it was the biggest part so far in the song, not the bridge, but it was right when the chorus hit. It was that's just the way life goes. I push my luck, and then right on luck. It was literally all I could see was it was Reba and Niall. Reba was like turned, and then Niall like literally this much after.
Yeah, they were so close to each other.
And so they turned at the same time, and then I remember like turning because I was doing this kind of. I turned to the side, at the corner of my eye, I see my mom like collapsed, and I was like, oh my gosh! And I was like, I have to keep focusing. So then I kind of went back. And then Snoop was there, and I was like, oh my gosh. So, and then once they turned, I had that extra energy to be like, all right, well, they turned, they like my voice. And I'm like, now I got to perform for them and really give it all that I can. So that's when the perfect timing was right into the bridge where I kind of was like, you were the best. I was walking and I turned and then got the big note. And I think just being able to, going into it, I knew that I didn't want to, they're turned, but I never wanted to really like, even when they did, stare right at them and sing to them.
Right.
It was kind of more about like making sure I'm staring off and like telling the story. And then later on, I kind of that's when I implemented moments where I did look at the coaches. But I just remember really trying to focus. But I remember seeing Reba and Niall, and I'm like, no matter what happens, like I'm good. Snoop, and I'm like, this can't get even better. And so, and the audience was so loud, honestly. Like, I think especially after when they're like, who do you pick? They're like, I heard a lot of Niall, I heard a lot of Snoop, and I was like, oh my God.
No. Well, you kind of already had a set idea of going with Niall in the first place, didn't you? Because of the singing,
Yes.
songwriting, and the communication with him. So yeah.
I think him turning was really like validating, because I feel like the whole time, especially when after the song was chosen and I'd been working on it with my coaches, it's like, how do we make it more singer-songwriter and more you? And then this is something that Niall would love, but it's like, you honestly, you don't know. It's the blinds. It's you just got to be yourself and hope that they hear that. And so I think the part that was validating was like after the fact that he turned is what he said after. And that's kind of what pushed me over to make the decision, because for a second there, I was like, wow, Snoop saying such, like, I really like was not fully imagining myself being on Snoop's team, but I almost did it. And Niall talked right after him. And that's when he said all the things he said, and he related me to my favorite artists. And that's just what I knew. I'm like, all right, he sees exactly what I'm trying to do and who I'm trying to be. And I feel like for this competition, like that's the path I want to go.
Okay. Talking a little bit about the fact that you are a singer-songwriter, what do you think actually is the hardest thing for you to do? Writing the lyrics or putting down the emotions in a track?
I would say the music itself would be the part that takes the longest. So for me, I'll have the lyrics come to me first, the emotional lyrics first, and I don't never sit down and I say I write down or usually it's on my notes app first. I'll write down chorus, like dot dot, and then I'll be like, okay, this next line verse, okay, pre-chorus. I'll have an idea or a feeling. I'll go into my notes app and I'll literally just keep typing and it could be random run-on thoughts and just keep typing. And then after I go in and I edit and place it where I want it, where my thoughts, like when they were disorganized, I organize it, and then I'll get the melody, and then the music's usually the last thing that I add to the lyrics. So, and then I think a big thing also for me is when I'm recording it, making sure that, you can do as many vocal takes as possible and it sounds good, but you want it to sound, since it's your original song, you want it to sound the most genuine and emotional. And so I think getting the right take, usually for me and my vocal coach, we would do 2 full run-throughs back to back, and then listen to them both and kind of compare. And we were like, you know what, that sounded great. I like that, but I like this chorus. And we'd go punch it in and move it in. And so I think just making sure that, the emotion's always there for me. I think just making sure that it's all organized is the hardest part.
Okay. And speaking of that, and you actually being a songwriter and doing all this, you actually had an EP come out not too long ago. And I have to say one thing. It is there's a lot of emotion that comes through within the songs, but there is one song that is a little bit different, and I think it's probably one of my favorites, and that's Hook. Can you please tell me I got yours somewhere. Can you please tell me how that all came about? Was that just a break
Yeah.
in something fun?
So the Hook was a single that I had released. I had released my EP in 2024. My first stuff, it had it's called A Line. It had a line on it. It's Not You, It's Me, Sad Ballad, and Dreamy Crush, and Back to the Future. I had 5 songs. And then I had, gotten the crazy good news about LA, and I was really focused on that for a while, but I had wanted to plan a summer single for a while. I was like, I want something that's fun and catchy that can just be on its own. It doesn't need to be, placed. It didn't really fit in anywhere else. And it's the first song that I fully wrote the chords on my guitar. Usually I have the idea, I go in and use, technology for the guitar, or I'll, start with the piano and then build sound effects. So it's the first one that I just made an acoustic sound. And I had the idea of like the hook, and then I said, you know what, that's great. And then I brought it into Natalie and I said, I love this, whatever. We finished it over the summer before I went to LA, and then I focused on what I was doing there, and it was getting mixed while I was out there. And I listened to the final mix a little bit after my battle round, and then I released it right before, or I think a little bit before that, right before you were allowed to release it, before I was on TV. And it just felt like something that is something new and fresh, so that if people see my name, they look it up, and it's, a more mature sound. I listen back, and I recorded the first one in like 2023, even though I released it in 2024. So I definitely sound older, and it sounds more a different vibe. I'm also working on writing now a lot at school, and just developing my sound, and I've had the time to, and that's just something I've been really focused on. But I've been wanting to really we're in Nashville, and there's producers everywhere. Mm-hmm. So the opportunity is there, but I've just been wanting to hone in on a different vibe. I usually don't like to force when songs come out. So even if there's a gap in between for now, I think as long as I stay genuine, then I'd rather take the extra month to put it out, if that makes sense.
It makes perfect sense. And actually, you were saying that some of this had been, when you're sounding a little bit younger and different things. Do you think maybe in the next 3 or 4 years, you would take that, redub it into a more sounding voice that you are now versus when you were a little younger?
I think that that's an interesting point. I'm actually glad you said that. I was thinking about doing the hook again as an acoustic version, but I think part of the reason I loved Align was that it wasn't perfect in my eyes, and it was so like young, coming of age, vulnerable. And I think that when I made it in the moment, it was like, wow, I'm exploring my artistry. This is the first actual song I'm writing like professionally. And so I think that like genuine naiveness sound, if that makes sense, that genuine naive sound in some of the songs, I don't think I could recreate, and I think connect as much. I think Align is something that's always going to be a special song for me and always going to resonate. But I think some of the songs was just a fun way to be like, wow, I wrote the song. Like I'm a singer-songwriter now. So I would definitely always perform them, because it's like I'm proud of my first work. But I think moving on and expanding is what I'd want to do. But I would say Align is something that I'll always keep close to me.
Great. I'm going to toss it to Michael.
Hi.
Hi, Ava. How are you doing?
I'm great. I like your background.
Well, yeah, I changed it. I said, oh, you know what? It's close enough to Thanksgiving. We don't have a show on Thanksgiving, but I said, you know what? We just need to throw this out.
Yep.
I've been throwing a little turkey train on, other shows, but I said, no, let me go the full-blown thing this time. But speaking of turkey hot, not really. What do you think is the most significant thing that you remember from the blinds? That just kind of you went, I'm really here, or this is real, or kind of what were you feeling?
Yeah, I think the whole time leading up to it, the blinds was obviously the most time I'd had to prepare versus the other rounds where it was quicker. And I think that going into it, the dress rehearsals, all of that was so new to me. I was shaky. I was trying to get all of that out. And I think the moment where it all hit me was, there's 2 moments before and after. One, when I was standing in front of the stage door. It's a stage door, and it's this little area you saw me standing in for. Yeah. And they hand you the mic, and she has her like little walkie-talkie. It's like, okay, 30 seconds till send off, and literally they're counting down, and she walks away. It's just you, and you kind of have that 20 seconds. All I was doing, I was like, deep breaths. I was doing this a lot because the hands, no matter what you could do, they're shaky, and you don't want the mic to be. So I was doing everything I could last minute, and then I took the breath, and the doors opened. And then when I walked up the stage and it was silent, but the crowd was there, my parents were there. I tried not to look at them too much because I knew that would get my head. I was like, oh my God, Mom. But the chairs were turned, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like they're sitting in these chairs. It's not rehearsal. And so I
This
think,
is real.
yeah, this is real.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that was the most scary moment right when I got off on the middle of the stage and it was silent. And then the song started and I got into it. So that was the moment. And then the moment when not only they were talking to me, that felt surreal, but after I'd chosen and Niall had come over and hugged me, give me the sweatshirt, I was like, first of all, these are real people and they're real humans. And he was, the camera doesn't show enough technically because of time reasons, but he walked me all the way off stage. He met my parents and he had a little conversation, and all the coaches are so genuine and kind. So that has been really helpful and supportive throughout the process. But that was the moment. So before I went out and after, when I got to interact with Niall, and I was like, wow, so he did see me as an artist, and it was kind of validating. And I was like, I can do this, I can perform. But it was also kind of scary because it's like, oh my gosh, now I'm like on The Voice. It's like, that was crazy. I'm like, now I have to do it again. And I'm like, my head,
It's not over with. Yeah.
Passed out, and now I have to do it again. So, yeah, that's what I would say are the two moments from the blinds.
Now, so far in the competition, what is the best advice that you have taken to heart that Niall has given you?
I think the best advice that Niall has given me was similar to what Joe Walsh said, but more to just really, when you're in the moment, it's okay to be emotional, but to make sure that you're not like visibly not there, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think if you're thinking during the song, okay, I have to hit this note and this is the next lyric, he's saying he was big on rehearse, so that when you're up on stage, you can just be you and your body knows what to do. And so you're not thinking, okay, like this is my next note. You're thinking, this is the note and lyric I'm in right now. So I'm going to do this and then I'm going to go where it takes me, versus walk, turn, step like a robot. So I think that advice was great because, practice is important for sure. It's like you literally can muscle memory it in your brain.
Mm-hmm.
But I think being able to do it not so that you don't mess up, but so that you can be in the moment, because he made sure that was what he was like. It's not because, oh, you have to do it so many times, because if you don't, you're going to embarrass yourself and like make the wrong note and voice crack. He didn't say that. He said, do it so much that you can just enjoy the moment and connect. And that's what really touched me.
Cool. That sounds like great advice for a lot of things.
Yeah.
Marcia, I'll go back to you.
Yeah, so the Nile sweatshirt, where is it?
My Nile sweatshirt, I had brought it back with me home it was at school. I wanted to wear it around a little bit. Obviously, who doesn't want to wear that? But I've been careful with it. I wear it at special occasions. I'm like, I can't stain it. I can't lose it. So I wore it a few times. I wore it the night I had my obviously watch party, and I took it out of the bag. But yeah, it's home with me now, and it's upstairs in my room.
Yeah, but people want to touch it when you're wearing it. They're like, can I touch
Yeah, so I'll let them touch it. But yeah, more as in like, if people are in my closet and they see like my sweatshirts, I'm like, watch out. I'll like dive in. I'm like, this is my sweatshirt. Wait. And then that's more of the thing is, I was showing my friends, I like hold it up and I'm like, it's just a perfect sweatshirt and it's there. Then I turn it around. It's like, Niall, The Voice. And I'm like, oh my God. So it literally looks like just a trendy sweatshirt I would wear. So honestly, it blends in perfectly with my style. So I was like, this is something I would wear every day if I could.
Perfect. Well, I marvel at performers who get up and sing before people. Why perform before people? You're talented, you can do it in your bedroom, why get up in front of people? What does it do for you?
I think that there is that double of, I do sing for myself. I come home from school, I'll sit at the piano, I'll play and I'll get into song. But there's always been that performance side of me. I love people and I'm very bold and I'm loud. I'm the youngest child. I don't know if that definitely helps, but I've always been loud and just trying to get attention in a good way and interact with people. And so I think I've always had that performance personality. I wasn't always as confident, but I would put on shows for my mom, like even if it was just like in my bedroom versus doing a concert, fifth grade opera, being the lead in the fifth grade opera. And so I think just the big part is like connecting with the audience. So like if you can't see the audience necessarily when there's bright lights, you can still connect with them and perform, but without necessarily staring right at them. But I think there's something intimate about like shows that, like I went to a Gracie Abrams show a little bit before I went out to LA, and she was doing a charity show. And so I'd gotten pretty close front row, and she had done a stripped down set, and she was able to sing with her fans and literally like connect with them. And so there's something about, there's definitely something to like performing at the Eras Tour and having it be like a theatrical masterpiece. There's something to that and being in your element. And then there's something to really, to really being in the environment and just feeling everything with everybody. Because at the end of the day, like even if you're a celebrity, like you're humans, and the point is to portray whatever emotion, and it's relatable. It's always relatable. Like no matter what, they could be, they could be totally different from you living in Hollywood, and they can have the same exact situation and feeling as you. So I think being able to stay grounded and humble in the fact that the point of music is to connect with people. That's the reason I perform, is to connect with people and to show a part of myself that usually I don't get to.
And we feel that connection, and of course all of the coaches, that's one thing that they have really stated about you at such a young age. May I say, I congratulate you on that.
Thank
Your
you.
stage presence and connection is beautiful. I have several of your songs on my Spotify, and and you really have this nostalgia thing because you've got Back to the Future.
Yes. Thank you. I did think of that one. And I saw a billboard. I was going to a camp for a singing camp in the city, and I saw this big billboard, Back to the Future's coming back on Broadway. And I just watched the movie. So I was like, boom, and it connected my mind. So yeah, I guess that's also a throwback that I connected to. I think I'm an old soul. But
I think
my
you might be.
My siblings being older, I think also I grew up hanging out with them more. So.
Mm-hmm. And the ending of that song is, you would go back, but there's nothing there. And I thought, oh my gosh.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. I know we're kind of short on time, so I'm gonna.
Sorry, I'm always yapping.
No, that's fine, Michael.
Yeah, Liz, let's go with you.
Oh, Liz, okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask one question, since you just actually mentioned your sisters real quick. What do you think is the greatest thing that you have learned from both of your older sisters, but especially Sabrina, because you did have that musical connection?
I think from Lily, I learned a lot of perseverance and independence. She's always been super independent, strong academically, obviously, which we differ a little bit in that sense, versus me wanting to go to course instead of algebra 2. But I still admire her determination and independence. And then Sabrina, I admire her vulnerability and just the way she also always connected with people, and when she sung especially, but just in general, whenever she would meet somebody, she would leave an impact on them and just make them feel seen. Another huge thing that we would say is that be somebody who makes everybody feel like somebody, because and that's just a powerful statement, because it's really just no matter what, it's whoever you're interacting with, just being able to connect with them over the smallest things, or smile at someone in the halls, it makes a difference. So I really look up to Sabrina's enthusiasm and her vulnerability, because that's something that I think I portray when I sing, and my enthusiasm for music and my vulnerability that you can't express any other way, through words, through anything else.
Okay. And one thing I just wanted to say, Ava, before we wrap this up, thank you for taking your time with us, and we look forward to seeing a lot of wonderful projects coming from you in the future. So thank you again.
So much. I cannot wait for you guys to see my playoffs outfit.
Well,
And have a safe
thank.
day.
Okay, yeah. Did you want a closing thing, Marcia? Did you want to say, or
Oh, I'm fine.
you're
Thank
fine?
you so
Well,
much for being with us. Absolutely, we want you back.
yeah, that's
Yes,
what
I
I
would
was.
love to.
Oh, you just took my stuff, so I was gonna say yes. We want you back.
We want you back.
When your journey is concluded, and we can talk about your future plans and new songs that you maybe come out
Yes.
with.
Yes.
So we would love that, Ava. So thank you so much for joining us today. Sorry about all the technical difficulties
No
that
worries.
StreamYard was having, but it's sometimes it's the way it goes.
Yep.
So everyone out there, if you're watching us live, thank you for coming. If you're watching us afterwards, thank you, and we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.